What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at an amazing shoutcast sent to us by Mr. Moustache991 in the Fossil Cup, brand new YouTube member of the channel, and that's another way that you can get access to that exclusive Discord that I also have through my Patreon. They're both linked to the same Discord, so either way you go, you can get access to it, and that's another way you can help support the channel as well. So, take a look at this team. We've got XehrFelrose, double water. You got XehrFelrose being the hardest possible answer in the entire Fossil Cup meta to a grass type, and two things in the back that are weak to grass and can handle flying types. Let's take a look at how Mr. Moustache handles this team right now. Getting into the first game, we've got XehrFelrose into a Sandslash. That is about as good a lead as you can possibly ask for. And I've seen so many Alolan Sandslash leads, honestly. And as a person who runs Berserker, I have a great amount of love to see some of these teams because of just how core bricky Berserker is. But that's not in this video. This video is about XehrFelrose double water. So we see a Lantern counter swap into the Jellicent. Jellicent's just going to eat that Thunderbolt for breakfast and have just enough HP to get off a charge move, but it doesn't really matter because that Surf is going to do almost no damage. And we did see a shield against... oh, that's terrible. We saw a shield used against the Shadow Ball, which normally I wouldn't mind, but the opponent has a Ferrothorn in the back, but thankfully with one shield, I'd bet that XehrFelrose just creams the entirety of the rest of this team. So Quagsire also not bad against the Sandslash here because of the fact that it's a Mud Boy. It's doing super effective damage with the ground type. So you just let Lantern go here. XehrFelrose gets locked onto this Ferrothorn, and the Quagsire comes in and catches a move instead of being locked onto the Sandslash. What a Giga Chad play. Thunder gets resisted. We're playing games with the opponent here, man. I did not expect that. That was terrific. That was... I have no words. I'm still trying to get over that catch. So the opponent's Power Whip gets shielded. Shields the Power Whip. Okay, I'm a little confused now. I think we could have just saved the shield for XehrFelrose to finish the game off, but I think either way, even without a shield, doesn't really need it. XehrFelrose can just come in at some point. You're going to get a shield from this... or you get the energy off of the Sandslash, and I imagine it probably takes exactly 2.35 counters to destroy the soul of this Alolan Sandslash because it's double weak to counter. So the opponent playing ABA Steel, not exactly the smartest thing to do, at least in my opinion. Anyway, up top there, we got a notification from XehrFelrose. That's going to be my Discord, and I'm not going to go into too much more than that. That's fine. I've already mentioned at the beginning of the video. So next game, we're going to have XehrFelrose into an Araquanid. This is where you're actually appreciating having the Aerial Ace coverage, even though I don't like Aerial Ace because it's a terrible move in general. In this meta, it does give you coverage against this Araquanid, which is really helpful in some situations because Drill Run is really the only move that XehrFelrose uses. So I like having Aerial Ace to cover the flyers to at least give you something to hit back things like Pelipper with, because otherwise you're using like Acid Spray, and no one's going to use Mega Horn in this meta. It's just not useful. The only people running Mega Horn are the ones that don't want to TM it off of their XehrFelrose, let's be honest. But we're staying in here. Gonna kind of have to. Lantern can absolutely handle this thing. But the opponent gives up swap, comes up with Lucario and snipes down, and then Quagsire, I imagine, comes in here. No, Lantern comes in because the Lucario is low enough to the point where a single move, honestly, would probably put it into move. Oh, he calls that bait. What an absolute Chad. Has a 2 shield advantage, or has a 1 shield advantage and calls a bait. This man. Oh my goodness. Mr. Moustache, you have the balls of steel that I wish I had sometimes. So Surf is going to do a lot of damage to a Swampert. That's just because Shadow Swampert is extremely glassy. This opponent is going to have to go for a bait. Are they going to bait? Yeah, they baited. I don't know if the Hydro Cannon would have KO'd, but to get that Surf off is nice. Then the Quagsire can just simply come and go for a Mud Bomb and clean this game up right now. Or the Lantern stays in and forces the Swampert to throw the energy, and then you come in with the Quagsire, or you just, I mean, you could have just shielded, technically. I don't know if the Swampert has a move, but at this point, yeah, they just, the Mud Bomb goes through. Oh, but the Araquanid's still in back, that's right. So then we've got to throw the Stone Edge, not Sludge Bomb. I don't know why I say Sludge Bomb. You're going to go for the Stone Edge, and then the opponent, oh my goodness, does the opponent, I think you have to no-shield this. Hydro Cannon would not have KO'd there, but one Hydro Cannon definitely doesn't KO, so you can safely shield as well, I guess. As long as you're counting the energy. I'm not counting as well right now, but let's be honest, Quagsire is just amazing. So, good game. Well played. There you go. All right. Ooh, real weird leads, so you can't stay in here because if they got Fire Fang, they definitely destroy your face so easily. Very good choice to pivot out of there into the Quagsire. The opponent deciding also not to swap out, and then they give you a huge energy lead into the mirror, which is just kind of a death sentence if I'm being honest. So this Quagsire is already at like 2 Mud Bombs, and the opponent just maybe now got to their first one. So Quagsire should easily be able to win switch here, and then honestly at that point, so a Lantern gets locked onto the Mawile, and you're just chilling. Now it's going to depend on what the opponent's got in the back. If XehrFelrose has a good matchup against it, we're in a good spot. But if the opponent core breaks the XehrFelrose Lantern core in the back with this third Pokemon, then we might be in trouble. But getting dangerously low here, not bothering to shield. The opponent looking to possibly put up both shields in order to get switch advantage here, which could be huge for them. That might be the kick here. Let's see if the Lantern comes in. It's going to have to eat this Mud Bomb. I don't really know if you can farm down with the Lantern either. Mud Bomb is going to get a shield here. I think we look to farm down, get another shield. Yeah, gonna have to shield this next one, and maybe hope that this Lantern can finish off the rest of this game for you. The opponent's Quagsire would be able to get to another Mud Bomb, so Mr. Moustache decides to pull the trigger on the Surf to get rid of this Quagsire before it can do so. And here comes Mawile, has a move loaded, but I don't know if that was enough. I don't know if that was enough. Yeah, it's just a power-up punch. I was going to say, I don't think that was enough for a player-off, so Lantern's going to fire off this Surf here, and that is going to do a lot of damage to Mawile because it's not exactly very tanky, and you get a full farm down on the Mawile. It only gets to another power-up punch. I'm pretty sure the opponent would have been much better off going for a player-off here. Perhaps they're running Iron Head, and the opponent just says, I'm done. They've probably got a Pelipper in the back. Every time my opponent doesn't show me their third, and I have a Lantern, it's always Pelipper in the back. Berserker is in the lead in the next match, and we've got a great lead here with counter XehrFelrose. Blastoise is going to come in and is going to get completely demolished by this Lantern. Lantern can go straight for a Thunderbolt here before the Blastoise gets to what would probably be a Skull Bash, and just take it. There it goes. And they do get to a move, but I don't think that's going to be enough for a Skull Bash. So very good no-shield here by Mr. Moustache. Going to no-shield this Hydro Cannon. And Lantern has enough HP to just roll into the next matchup with a ton of advantage here. Absolutely. Berserker comes in. Doesn't really matter. Berserker is going to have to fight through a wall of electric water, dolphin, sparky looking goodness. And honestly, it's going to have to shield this as well. You cannot let your Berserker be in a position where it has to have this much HP to farm down. It's just unfortunate. I don't know if, I mean, like I said, as a Berserker player myself, I don't think that Blastoise is the right choice here. But anyway, y'all saw in the video that I did last week, as I believe again, I'm staggering my releases a bit. So by now I should have released my Berserker video. I paired it with the Lantern and I paired it with the Jellicent. So I don't know if Blastoise was technically the right choice there. But the opponent's Swampert is shieldless. Quagsire has a shield and can absolutely tank any one move from the Swampert, even if it's an Earthquake. The Swampert goes for the Hydro Cannon. It does have enough energy for a second move. Goes for it. Think you have to shield this up? No, he no shields it because he knows he can live it. What an absolute Giga Chad. These battles are done in the ace rank, but honestly, Mr. Moustache is playing out of his mind right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was showing me like expert level battles at this point because of how well he's doing right now. So Mud Bomb going to take out the Swampert. Berserker is not going to be able to handle both these Pokemon, and that's going to be a good game. Well played. Going into the next battle, we've got XehrFelrose against Lantern. This is actually a pretty good matchup for the XehrFelrose because of Drill Run. You can no shield safely one Surf here, and then the Drill Runs basically command shields. But at this point, you might want to check to see if there's a Grass type in the back, just because Quagsire in the back is also a counter. And you catch a Drill Run on the Pelipper. Oh, that's so painful, but it doesn't matter because you have a Lantern in the back. You literally farm down the whole Pelipper. You don't need to use any energy in this matchup whatsoever. whatsoever. You let them throw their hurricane. You live 2 hurricanes very comfortably. You farm down the whole thing, and then you just come out of this matchup with energy. And I love punishing these people in this cup, and I mean these people in the most respectful of ways. But my friends, if you think it's a good idea to safe swap a pelipper in this meta, you are absolutely mistaken. And in this matchup, I actually after playing this out, I actually prefer to go straight Surf here because it allows me to get to extra moves, which ultimately, even though the Surf does less damage, it means that I'm doing 3 charge moves instead of 2. Just a personal preference of the way that I like to play it, but I still think that going for double Thunderbolt is still a perfectly good move here. Quagsire is going to come in, and Quagsire just destroys Lantern. So we're looking good in this game here. Ferrothorn is now locked onto the Escavalier, and Lantern is not going to be able to have a good time against this Quagsire. You can easily let these moves go. Quagsire is a tanky boy with those beady little cute eyes. Mud Bombs are probably either going to get shield. I think the opponent has to put it all on their Ferrothorn here, and I don't think they can. You have to farm all the way down. You have to shield. You have to farm all the way down and somehow land 4 Thunders. Not really 4. I think it's like 3. I think you need to land 3, but I think they just know that they lose. So, well played. Completely destroyed the opponent by team comp there, but still very well done. That drill run catch was an unfortunate. Getting a really nice lead, though, in this next game against a Registeel, and the opponent swaps into a Lantern. Same deal here. We absolutely destroy the Lantern with the Quagsire. The Escavalier having drill run means that you can get an easy free shield here. Over farming, very nice, going just before they get to the Surf. I imagine we're going to see a swap either into the Quagsire or the Mirror here pretty shortly. Nope, the opponent throws the move. We're staying in here. I think I might have swapped here, but I don't mind the shield and farm down just because it allows you to continue to have you get to see the 3rd Pokemon, right? Because they're not going to bring Registeel into this. That'd be insane. So now you get to see that they have a Pelipper. Go for the Aerial Ace. We're going to lock the Lantern onto the Pelipper, lock the Quagsire onto the Registeel, and just by sheer RPS, we're looking at a good game here, I'm pretty sure. So opponent's going to come in with the Registeel. Quagsire pops in, starts slinging mud at the Registeel, and Lantern is just chilling in the back with just about all of its HP intact, waiting for that Pelipper to come back in so he can eat it for breakfast. This is it, dude. This really is quite unfortunate that this whole meta is just strictly, it seems like it's RPS to the max in some cases. Especially when you're playing, you know, a team like this where you've got, like, you know, Lantern and Quagsire, which are weak to grass. You've got Escavalier in the lead. You've got something that's like super strong to grass but weak to flyers. It's just, it's such a small condensed meta with so much RPS that it's a bit difficult to navigate at times, especially if you catch the wrong side of it, like I did on day 1, where I lost 100 elo before I started catching up and getting it back again, then some. But the opponent's Pelipper comes in, the Weather Ball does not do enough damage to take out the Quagsire, and Lantern can just simply farm down this whole Pelipper, throw a Thunderbolt into the Registeel, and that's going to be a good game. Well played. Super RPS mode activate. That's going to take out Registeel, and there it is. That's going to be the game right there. Very well done. I know Mr. Moustache has asked me to kind of critique the gameplay here, but honestly, I feel like he's doing great. I mean, you know, there's possibly been some timing, but really it hasn't been anything that I've noticed that's been really bad here. So anyway, Araquanid is the safe swap on this opponent's team, and they're going to get met with a Lantern. Lantern is going to throw the Thunderbolt here. You have to bring in the Lantern, I feel, here, because, you know, Escavalier doing resisted damage except for that Aerial Ace, which is not ideal. And Quagsire, absolutely not appreciating having to go for a whole Stone Edge. Now that Bug Buzz makes things a little bit difficult, and Mr. Moustache decides he's going to try and farm this all the way down. Now the Bubble Beam comes through, and that makes things more complicated, being forced to shield. I think I would have tried to throw that Surf before, or maybe even the Thunderbolt before the opponent got to the move here. Now the opponent comes in with their Alolan Sandslash, which is a Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash. Not quite as useful in this meta as the Shadow Claw version, I think, but Powder Snow is still going to be dealing, it's going to be allowing the Sandslash to get some extra farm here, but Escavalier comes in, and we've got a Jellicent in the back with a shield advantage, and this is dangerous. Okay. Alright. So I'm going to pay attention to timing here, because this is a very common timing matchup here that gets mistake. I can't think. This is a very common matchup of timing that can get mistaken. So right there we throw with bad timing, unfortunately. Throwing after 3 mud shots against the 3-turn user will make allow them to get to an extra move for free. So you want to be throwing on 1, 4, 7. That's going to be the ideal timing here in this matchup. So going for 1, 2. 2 is fine, but you're giving them 2 free turns of energy as opposed to 1. So again, you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, or go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think either way is fine, but now that this Jellicent is within range of a Drill Run or an Aerial Ace, I think we're chilling here. Going to be able to get to a move. The opponent, because we threw on alignment, the opponent is going to be able to get to a move. If we're counting the opponent's energy here, would have been able to note that they weren't going to get to a Surf right away or a Shadow Ball. So we could have kept farming and probably caught that Sand Slash catch. But you want to make sure that you're not throwing on that alignment point. So 3 is the number you want to avoid. But with 1 HP in a Dream, this Escavalier pulls the win out of its armor and takes out the Jellicent. Very well done. Very good comeback in that game. That was a very difficult one otherwise there. Getting into the next game, we got Escavalier into Jellicent. You actually could not ask for a worse lead here. Going to stay in for just a bit. I feel like you have to swap out immediately. This is a very difficult matchup. Wait to turn, I think, to make sure they don't catch. I know that was... You can fit 7 counters in before they get to a move, but that was a CMP tie. That was, I don't know, there's lag or something. That was kind of odd. But Shadow Ball absolutely just chunks. And Quagsire is okay to bring in here, I think. Quagsire does neutral damage with the Mud Bombs, and I think that was an okay swap to make. Escavalier is in a very bad matchup there. It would have been better to save it, because if you had drawn out the Kingdra with the Lantern earlier, then your Escavalier could have farmed it down while having to deal with resisted damage from the Dragon Breath, which would have made it a lot better than tanking a whole Shadow Ball for basically nothing. So the opponent's Kingdra comes in, and the Thunderbolt doesn't do a ton of damage here, and Dragon Breath just ripping through the Lantern. So Lantern is forced now to make a decision. Do we shield? And the Octazookas just keep coming out, and Octazooka finally gets a debuff, but the switch clock is up. Does the opponent... Oh, we throw in the Surf. You got to go for the Thunderbolt here, especially after taking that debuff. You're dealing double resisted damage. The Escavalier comes in, puts it in a range where it could be farmed down. Lantern somehow is able to get a Spark off before being Dragon Breath down, throwing the Thunderbolt into this Lucario that comes in here. And Quagsire is chilling in the back, thinking, man, what a tasty looking steel type for me to just farm down. The opponent is forced to go for a power-up punch, which is going to do almost no damage to the Quagsire, and they're going to be forced to swap out on the Jellicent. Jellicent had just thrown most of its energy before swapping out. We throw a move there with really nice timing right in the middle of the Hex there, preventing them from getting any extra energy. The opponent is forced to shield. They are now within Stone Edge range, and that Lucario has no energy, so if the Shadow Ball does not take out the Jellicent, we're good. Dude, this is so close. Okay, hold on. Does one Mud Shot take out that Lucario? Because if it is, we're good. Does the one Mud Shot take out? Yes, it does. That's going to be a good game. Super close. Very well played. All right, hopping into this next game, we've got Escavalier versus a Galarian Stunfisk. Now, this is a good lead because, once again, you've got your Quagsire in the back, and the opponent seems to be core broken by this G-Fist. Never mind, they try to catch it or move early. And oh, the safe swap Pelipper at it again. Lantern just comes in, zippity zaps down this whole Pelipper's face, and is going to throw at least 14 Surfs into this G-Fist by the time it's done. And then Escavalier gets to come in and laugh at the G-Fist as it gets to counter down. And then Quagsire, who knows what Quagsire is going to do? At this point, you have so much energy, I don't even know if Quagsire sees play in this game. This is just... if I were the opponent, I'm just top lefting for safe swapping Pelipper. That's insanity to me. This opponent does throw a move upon entering. This is just a Rock Slide. They did leave with only enough energy for the Rock Slide. We could have no-shielded that there, I think, but I don't mind this shield because it allows you to get so many more Surfs off now before the opponent gets to another Rock Slide. I do believe that they are 3 away now. So you should be able to get to the Surf here before... Nope, they were 2 away. All right, so the opponent gets to the Rock Slide. I think at this point you just let this go here. And then Rock Slide takes out the Lantern. No, they didn't take out... Oh, my goodness. And the opponent's playing ABA round. Swampert comes to the field. Quagsire is going to come out. And again, Quagsire can absolutely tank one move here from this Swampert. Lantern is gone, and Escavalier is just chilling in the back with a shield, just saying, you know what? I can do this. Mud Bomb is going to take out the Swampert. I think you can safely shield this here as the G-Fist had just thrown a move. Hydro Cannon gets the shield on the... That should have been a CMP. I'm not sure why it wasn't. And so Mud Bomb is going to take out the Swampert for sure. And Escavalier just comes in and drill runs. I would have loved to see an Aerial Ace, to be honest, just because you beat them so bad. But I'm not, you know, that's BMs. That's bad manners. I'm not going to do that. That would have been funny, though. All right. Here we go into this last game here. We've got a pelipper lead against Escavalier. This is about as bad as you could possibly ask for, but thankfully this is why we're running Aerial Ace. So I'll take this moment as we watch the Escavalier struggle against the pelipper just to say thank you to everybody who subscribed and not subscribed. If you're not subscribed and you like what I do and like the content, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment if you want to let me know how your Fossil Cup's going. I'm actually interested. I love this meta, to be honest. And if you'd like to submit battles for shoutcasting to the channel, I do have a link in the description and the pinned comment with a Google form that you can fill out. And if it's not in the pinned description or in the pinned comment, I need to put it there because I did notice last week that it's actually not there. So, Weather Ball against the Lantern doesn't do very much here, but because Lantern has a nice energy lead, this Escavalier matchup is not nearly as bad as I made it out to be before. If you're in even energy, yeah, it sucks, but it's this. The Lantern's got so much extra energy now, it's absurd. Lantern Surfs are going to be able to take out a chunk of this Escavalier, and I think you shield. You shield? I wonder if the opponent's running double bug in the back, which means that this Lantern could have a lot of value. It easily outpaces this Escavalier, so we just need to shield one more time. We get to another Surf here. Opponent just going to let it go. Nope, they have a Lucario in the back. So it's up to this. Ooh, that's a power punch. I think you live this, but barely. Decides to say, no, I'm going to go ahead and shield. The opponent is on CMP with this Lantern. They're going to shield, and then the Quagsire comes in and just destroys this poor Lucario's soul. Oh, man. I don't think the opponent had a chance there. They had to shield one or the other, and if they didn't shield the Surf, then the Quagsire comes in and farms down. Very nice gameplay. I found very few things to really harp and critique in that gameplay. I thought that this was a very good showcase of this team, and I think that the gameplay that matched it was very, very well and above the ELO range that it was showcased at. So, Mr. Mustache, once again, thank you so much for submitting these battles, and thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.